Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF, and our affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. We have an exciting show for you tonight. We have excerpts from some videos that we'll be showing. Madeline Martinez of Oregon Normal and National Normal is here, and we'll be taking your calls a little bit later. We also have Mr. Tim Pate and John Cornett off here ready to strum in with some music here in just a moment. So stay tuned. We'll be taking your calls and questions shortly. So we'll bring out our dancing cannabis leaves.
Are they no longer infamous?
Told me that.
Hey, well, welcome. We have Mr. Tim Pate and John Cornett. How are you folks tonight?
We're excellent. How are you tonight, Paul?
Very well, very well. A little road weary. Got back into town about an hour before the show, but the show must go on.
That's true. Sometimes you come in about 5 minutes, so an hour seems like a lot of time.
I know.
Yeah.
30 seconds or less. As long as I've got more than 30 seconds, I can usually pull it off.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you. You too. Music is better, I've got to say, and sometimes, in live television, things must go on. John had a string break there during I guess maybe the first 10 seconds.
The first note.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, and John has a guitar that when one string breaks,
now
all the rest of them are out of tune suddenly, and he carries the load on that one. So,
he did
John is, and anyway, he's been coming and playing with me for such a long time now, and I, thank you, John, for being here. I really do appreciate it because he comes a long way just to be here. I know it's about a 2-hour round trip, something like that. So, anyway, strings break, but the show goes on. Anyway, thanks, folks.
That's the problem with live things. You just go with it.
Yep.
Hey, welcome, Madeline. How are you doing?
Thank you, Paul. I'm doing great. Thanks.
Great. We've had a pretty exciting week. We'll talk about here in just a moment. We're taking your phone calls. You can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And I guess we'll just jump right into it since we have a call waiting. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, this is Lance. I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
watching this on Ustream on the internet?
We're in the Bible Belt, and I can't seem to find any normal or any chapters here in Oklahoma City, and we need
I grew up
something
in
to
Tulsa
decriminalize or legalize marijuana here because I have bad muscle spasms. My doctor prescribes me Valium, and that's something that medical marijuana would help a lot.
Well, you know, the
And,
laws
I
in
was just
Oklahoma, I know I
wondering
don't
if
have
you
to
know
tell
anything
you
about
that, but you've
Oklahoma
got like
City and-
the worst enforcement of marijuana victimless crimes than any other state in the union. I mean, it's not unusual for people to get 5 or 10 years for less than an ounce there. Isn't that right?
Well, I heard first offense, and no matter what the quantity was, is I think 1 year and $1,000 fine, which I've never been prosecuted, and I've recently quit because my wife, she doesn't want me to do it. You know, we got kids, and I don't want to take the chance of losing my son.
That's a terrible penalty to have to pay. I mean, here in a state like Oregon, the other O state, we just have a fine, and we can't even be arrested or taken to jail as long as we're possessing less than an ounce.
But there is an Oklahoma NORML. If you go to normal.org and search for your state chapter, you'll find them there. I receive email from them all the time on affiliates.
I remember the guy's first name's Michael, or the guy, Michael, someone there who's been working with Oklahoma NORML for a long time.
I'd like to say something here.
And then our guitarist over here is from
Tulsa. I grew up in Tulsa. I was born and raised in Oklahoma. Went to Oklahoma State and University of Oklahoma. And you have my condolences for living in the state. I honestly can say that you're the first person to call us from Oklahoma. We've gotten calls from all over the country, and I'm really glad that
I
you're
was
on.
growing up. I'm sorry to interrupt you. When I was with my father, he was like one of the best down in Cotton County. He could grow anything, and that's what put shoes on my feet and clothes on my back.
Right.
You know, whenever he wasn't feeding cattle in the winter, he was taking care of that.
Yeah, I've done the cattle bit in
I don't see
Oklahoma.
nothing wrong with it. It's better than the Valium I'm taking and all that. That's a prescription that the FDA prescribes, but they won't give us something that I can grow right out of the ground and cure my muscle spasms and stuff like that I have real bad.
Well, I recommend that you become a warrior, man. I mean, you live in a state that doesn't have correct laws, okay? I lived here in Oregon. I've lived here for 26 years now. And quite frankly, I got here before the laws were different than they are now. And I applied myself to make certain that those laws changed in our favor. And many of my other friends have done the same thing. We've all been working very hard for a long time here. And that's the only thing you can do there. You've got to change the laws. You've got some people in power there that are ignorant. And you have to make the change. You are there, and you are the one capable of doing that. You've got to gain strength from that.
Things are changing, and when medical marijuana becomes legal in Oklahoma, we'll have won the war completely. I think we're on the verge of that. You know, we just had a breakthrough this week that we're going to talk about with Madeline and I here in Oregon this past week that's pretty phenomenal. But so you saw us out there on the internet?
Yes, I guess about 2 weeks ago I found y'all on here, and I've been watching you ever since.
Very cool.
And I just wanted to get in contact with y'all about that because I can't find nothing in here, and I've read a few things. They said Oklahoma would be the last state to ever decriminalize or legalize.
Yeah, I think you're probably right in that. It's going to be a tough road to hoe there. You're right up there with Texas. I grew up in Texas myself. So, in fact, when I first smoked marijuana, the person who smoked it with me would have gotten a longer prison sentence for smoking marijuana with me than if he'd killed me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised to find out that there are a lot of Oklahoma State ag people who have done a really good job at growing marijuana. So, just understand that you got the knowledge in the state to do a good job. You just need to apply
like I said, I grew up around it, and that's what put shoes and clothes on my back whenever I was young. And,
well, I know the laws have gotten pretty strict around there, so I just recommend writing your legislators and keeping your nose clean and contact Oklahoma NORML, that fellow Michael there. I know you can find him through their website, and Russ Bowville is the chapter coordinator. He could direct you to him as well.
It's normal.org, and just look under your state chapter. And also, help us support H.R. 2943, which is Barney Frank.
Yeah,
which eliminates the penalties for having amounts of marijuana for personal use. So that's a real I mean, something that we should all contact our representatives about
Yeah.
across all states.
That's right.
No,
Any
that's
of
a
our
federal-
viewers out there
if that
need to be
goes into
contacting
federal,
our,
exactly.
our representatives and getting our federal representatives in Washington, D.C. to get behind these bills.
They
Well, I
still
really
have to
appreciate your
change
call.
state by
Thanks for
state.
calling us,
Thank
and
you
good
for
luck
letting me
there
be on
in
here. I sure
the
been
Sooner
watching
State.
ever since 2 weeks ago I found y'all, and I'm going to watch you every time now, and I appreciate you getting me on here.
Well, give us a
Thank
call
you.
at some point in the future, and if you decide to migrate, there are states where you would be completely legal right now if it ever
Yeah.
becomes a real strain for you. But
That's
thanks
it.
for calling.
Okay, well, I'd rather get off this Valium and all this other stuff I'm
joke.
on for my muscle spasms and do something that grows completely from the ground.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Yeah, the side effects from cannabis are pretty mild compared to Valium, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks for your call.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate you
Keep
getting me on. I'll
watching.
talk
If you
to
have
soon. Thank you.
a question or call for us tonight about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
Another pin in our map.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Madeline, the legislature here in Oregon has had some phenomenal breakthroughs over the past week.
They have.
So hard to decide which one's more important. I have to think probably rescheduling marijuana has to be the number one. No other state has rescheduled marijuana out of Schedule 1 to date. And
To
now
Schedule
both
2.
houses of Oregon's
Yes.
legislature has said move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2.
Yes.
It is phenomenal, and the fact of the matter is that Oregon, we have moved, like you said, beyond any other state.
That's right, that's
And
right.
It's huge because of the sentencing guidelines. For me, that's a
And
big issue.
the fact that recently the federal courts and the state court in California ruled that the Controlled Substances Act says that state regulation of controlled substances supersedes the federal regulation.
Exactly.
So the fact that Oregon, has moved through
Yes.
its legislative process to reschedule marijuana opens up a whole new realm of issues and questions. Like, they are going to have to license a producer.
Exactly. It's
They're going to have to
amazing.
license a producer to provide to pharmacies. And doctors will be able to write real prescriptions.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I want to see as it evolves, as it becomes implemented, what we're going to do. Because when we were working with on OCTA, we found you had put some treaties in there to
Yeah.
be ready for
Exactly.
the federal,
Yeah, the inevitable federal
Yeah,
challenge that will come
exactly.
along. Well, what we did is we just took the wording from the international treaties on how you have to regulate it and put that into the bill. And so we'll be working on that some more in the near future, too. But the other breakthrough is the hemp bill.
the hemp bill as well.
The
And
long-
Przansky has been working on it
Floyd
for so many
Przansky's-
years.
Yeah, over a dozen years
In
now.
Eugene. I mean, what a guy. And if you get a chance, contact Senator Floyd Przansky and let him know that you thank him for working on our children's future, our
And it
grandchildren's
still has
future.
to pass through the House. It's been
Right.
come out of committee now. It has to pass both houses of the Senate. So it's not as far along as the rescheduling bill of marijuana is,
Right,
but it's
no.
certainly gotten farther than it ever has
It
before.
ever has, exactly. But the rescheduling still is the phenomenal one, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
After working on it for 10 years now, a decade that we've
Right.
had this program, for them to actually do something so progressive in the state of Oregon is
Yeah.
just, I'm really
Well, I
proud.
mean, it's definitely called for. Marijuana has medicinal use.
Exactly.
The Schedule 1 thing says it's only for drugs that don't have any medicinal use, so it definitely shouldn't be in that category.
Oh, no.
We have a caller now. Is this from Calgary? Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Yes. No. Going once. Hello.
I think they
Maybe
stepped
they
away
don't
from
get
their
the sound.
phone.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, a voice.
Well, we tried.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. Can-
Excellent.
Can you hear me?
Yes, not from
Good.
Calgary, but from the state of New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Another pin in our
couldn't
map.
quite see a
Welcome.
sign over there.
Thank you, thank you. I've been watching this for over a month and a half now, and just watch every one of your shows 2 a night to
Cool.
catch up.
There's a lot of them out there over the years. So,
Absolutely amazing, stunning information. You guys do a great job out there. But I
Thank
was
you.
just wondering, I've been watching New Jersey as it's developing. Do you
yeah,
have
you've
any
already passed.
information?
Is it the Senate or the State Assembly that the medical marijuana bills passed through?
So now what's next?
Well, in New Jersey, you know, it's gone through, I think, the state Senate, and now the state assembly has to pass it. And it's come out of committee in New Jersey, and the bill that came out of committee is not as good as what came out of the state Senate. So what needs to happen, I think, in New Jersey is that people need to contact their state assembly people and tell them to change the law back to allow people to grow their own, to allow chronic pain to be included in the list of conditions there in New Jersey, and to go back to what the Senate of New Jersey already passed. And if they could go back to that same language, it doesn't have to go into another committee if the assembly passes it. And so Governor Corzine there has said he'll sign the medical marijuana law into law. It just has to pass out of the state assembly now.
Now, do you know how long will that take?
Well, they say it's going to come up for a vote in the fall. But what I really think needs to happen there is that people in New Jersey, you know, like you and others, need to contact your state assembly people and say that the committee changes to the medical marijuana law are not good, change it back and pass the original law that the Senate of New Jersey, in its wisdom, has already passed.
Right in the beginning, right.
So the more people who contact their legislators, the more likely that is to happen. Now, if that doesn't happen and they retain those changes, it'll still be better than no medical marijuana law at all, but it won't be as good a law as what the Senate passed already.
Right, you know, and you can contact your normal out there as well. We just got through meeting with them in Aspen, and Ann works out there with a New Jersey Normal. So just go to the National Normal website, normal.org, and click your chapter, and you'll find them out there, and you can get to work on it, too.
Sounds great. Will normal, once it passes, I know it'll pass, but once it passes, will normal start to have more meetings?
Definitely. There will be more and more meetings and local groups, and in fact, our organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, already have doctors ready to go, assuming that the law is going to pass this fall. So we're ready to open up in Trenton and Camden and Newark as soon as the state law goes into effect there in New Jersey.
Yeah, don't forget Atlantic City. That's where I'm at.
Okay, well, Camden's not far away. How far is it from Camden to Atlantic City?
An hour and a half, maybe.
Well, you know, you could come. I mean, you know, we'll see how it goes. My guess is that we'll be in Atlantic City shortly after it passes as well.
Sounds great.
It's down on the boardwalk,
Stay in touch and get involved.
Right on the beach. Right on the beach. It's just absolutely amazing to watch this whole thing develop just over the last couple of years. It's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Things are really opening up on a broad level, especially with the election of the new Democratic administration at the federal level and these recent court rulings. And just the whole science behind it as well shows, you know, that marijuana is beneficial for health rather than harmful. And the sooner we get that message out there, the sooner we'll end this prohibition.
Exactly. Well, great. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I'll let somebody else call in now, but thanks for answering the questions.
You bet.
Our pleasure. Thanks for calling.
All right, I'll call again some other time. New Jersey.
Let us know how it's going in that developing bill.
It is coming out roses out there, you know, and just the fact that you educated Sanjay Gupta was wonderful.
That was the biggest benefit, I think, from the whole thing is that I told him I wanted to debate Sanjay Gupta because of that Time magazine article he'd written a couple years back. And he definitely, the information we gave him got to him. So he's not strongly anti-marijuana with, you know, like marijuana is just THC. That was his view before, that THC was the only compound in marijuana. And he needed to know that THC is just one of several medicinal compounds in cannabis.
Anytime we can educate physicians or anybody that opposes marijuana, I think we're so much further ahead. That Dr. Donald Tashkin
down at UCLA.
UCLA. Now he's all for legalization.
For 30 years, he's been
fighting us.
You know, issuing reports that marijuana is dangerous, and now he's come around and said that not only is marijuana not dangerous, it's actually beneficial to health. That people who smoke marijuana are actually less likely to get lung cancer than people who never smoke anything at all.
I mean, it's so wonderful to see this transition in our lifetime, Paul.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
It is. I mean, we've been waiting for it, and it is a sure pleasure, but there's a lot to do, and there's always potential for, you know, I've seen it, you know, back in the 70s. I was just a teenager then, but it looked like things were going to change then, so we can't let the momentum pass us by for 2 more generations. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller, you're on the show.
Good evening, Madeline. This is Sharon. I was calling to find out what's going on about the program up in Grants Pass that was passed that I've seen on the news today as far as medical marijuana, and I wanted to find out what was that all about.
Well, we just opened an office in Grants Pass, and the Grants Pass Chamber of Commerce came out and helped us cut a ribbon in front of the place.
Right on.
We were actually welcomed by the whole business community in Grants Pass, and so it's pretty phenomenal. We had a welcome party. Dr. Thomas Orvald and Henrik Rode and Brenda and Heather, the people who run the office on a day-to-day basis, were there, and they showed a picture of the office manager, Brenda, cutting the yellow ribbon in front of it that the Chamber of Commerce put up. And so it's got an amazing amount of publicity all the way from Eugene to Medford and points in between. They've been talking about, and actually giving the address of the new medical marijuana clinic there.
Exciting,
so
isn't it?
It is.
Jeez,
It is to see the media jumping
I
on that.
have
And the
one more
television
question.
channels, too, have
As
come
far
out.
as like growing outdoors, how many plants is it best to have outdoors during this time of year?
You can grow up to 6 plants per patient under Oregon's medical marijuana law. Now, the sooner you put them out and the bigger they are, the more they're going to produce. But the big advantage outdoors is there's unlimited root system. There are natural predators that eat the bad bugs, and the big grow bulb in the sky doesn't cost anything. It's and it's got the perfect spectrum for the plants. You don't have to add ventilation because there's already wind and real ventilation. So there's a lot of advantages to growing outdoors, and your production can be a great deal larger. The largest disadvantage is there's only one season a year, and plants and thieves might take your plant. I mean, animals might eat it, and even worse, thieves or the police might take it.
But you can't beat Mother Nature. You can never beat Mother Nature, so put it out there.
Recreating it indoors is expensive and time-consuming and a lot of work. So if you can go outdoors, it's obviously the way to go, but the real problem is human theft and keeping the teenagers away from the garden.
Right, and I have a couple more questions, all in one. About when you're planting them outside, about how much can you produce off of it, and when is the best time to harvest it?
Well, the amount you produce is directly proportional to the size of your plant. So I like to make cuttings in December and have cuttings 5 or 6 feet tall, ready to go out in April. And then when it's time to harvest, you'll have a 12 or 14-foot tall marijuana tree. But if you put out you can put out a small plant in July that's maybe 6 inches high, and you might get a 1/4 pound to a 1/2 pound. Where if you put out a 5-foot tall plant in the 1st of May, you might get 5 to 10 pounds. So it all depends on the size of the plant, the amount of nutrients available, and the amount of space that plant has to grow. So the best time to harvest, though, is mid-October, just before the rains hit us. So you want to watch the calendar, and in the month of September and October, you have to be real vigilant about mold and human theft. Those two are both things that can cause you to lose some or all of your crop.
Okay, then thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
You know what I found was really interesting? We had a plant outside that was getting pretty big, but up here in Portland we have that short season. It wasn't quite ready, so what we did was we brought it inside and we finished it off inside.
Yeah, that's another
and that worked out real well. So for those folks that are scared to put them out, if you leave them in a huge container, you can lug it back inside and, just finish it off under your high-pressure sodiums. So that's another option.
Yep, the options are wide-ranging, fortunately.
Yeah, some of it can be pretty endless if you really work it right.
That's right. So we've got the big breakthrough in terms of rescheduling marijuana.
Right.
Has anybody heard anything from Governor Kuligowski? Has he had any pressure one way or the other on what to do with this bill? Hopefully he's going to sign it into law.
I believe he will sign it into law because everyone is so supportive of it. This is the first time I've seen such a progressive legislative body this year that are really opening up their eyes, thinking out of the box. That's why I think it's our perfect opportunity to move forward with the tax and regulate bill
Yeah, I do
at the
too.
legislature. And come February, boy, it's not looking good because our budget is not balanced, and there's shortfalls across the board, especially in social services. As you know, it always gets hit.
And
so
schools.
hard.
Schools are being cut
doing terrible
all across
We've
the
got
board.
2 state troopers on the I-5 corridor. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And we need some more.
And then they're wasting our resources going after marijuana growers, too. You know,
Exactly.
something that is beneficial. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello, caller.
Yes, this is Stephen from Scappoose, Oregon. I have a question. I was wanting to know if it was actually true that I heard that in 2010 it's not going to be against the law to smoke marijuana or possess it. Is that true or not?
Well, it isn't
Could be.
true right now, but if you work real hard and join together in our effort to
That's right.
end marijuana prohibition, it could well be legal for you to grow marijuana come January 1st, 2011. We have a proposal. We filed it once last year, and after polling, we saw some flaws in the bill, and we decided to withdraw the flawed bill, and we've redrafted it, and we're preparing to start circulating that again. And that would end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and just open up the market in terms of regulating and taxing adult marijuana use.
Well, how can me and my friends help you get that bill passed?
Just stay in touch with us. We will have petitions available soon. Keep watching our websites, the Oregon Normal website, our political website, which is crrh.org. We'll definitely have information about that on there. That's crrh.org. Also, we have a portal to all our websites, and that's hemp.org, HEMP.org. So you just keep watching those websites, watching this TV show, and you can expect to see it out there. What we've got to do first is gather 1,000 registered Oregon voter signatures. Then we can put our proposal before the Secretary of State. Then they draft a ballot title and question and summary. And then we move, once that's been approved for circulation, then we can begin to get the big job of gathering another 150,000 registered Oregon voters' signatures. And if we get enough of those signatures, of 150,000 by July of 2010 next year, or about a year from right now, then it'll go on the ballot for a vote in November. And if we all vote 50% plus one in favor of it, then it becomes law, and marijuana will be legal on January 1st, 2011 here in Oregon.
Right on.
So
maybe.
is there some way that I can get some type of position together with me and a lot of my buddies to sign? Because
Well,
we're
yeah, that'd
voters
be
of
great.
Oregon.
Just stay tuned to this show, watch our websites, and you can expect to see it out there in the very near future. I don't want to say a date right now because I probably be wrong, but it won't be long. I can guarantee you that.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
call, Stephen, and keep watching.
Join Normal
join
is
Normal,
another
please.
good
We
alternative.
need everybody.
We have a little film clip we're going to roll. We'll be right back after the film clip to take more of your phone calls and hear some more music. So stay tuned. Tune in. Turn on and take over.
Of seeing all the best bands, all the best musicians and that were floating around London. I mean, it was just like Music City. It was unbelievable. You could go down the Marquee and you could see the Yardbirds or Led Zeppelin, the lot. It was quite amazing, actually, to watch the rest of the band completely smashed and various other people, you know. And I saw the danger signs as well, you know, and lived through some tragedies, you know, different people that we knew that had taken drugs and died. In the 60s, I find that smoking never really did anybody any harm. It relaxed people, but you can actually get a bit complacent if you take it. Now, all I know is that smoking dope, I've been told, is good for certain illnesses like glaucoma, an eye disorder. Which is, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I mean, you know, they're obviously all drugs and medicines. It's just the way you use them, I suppose, isn't it?
Back in about 1976, 77, I had the chance to be a DJ at a club called the Roxy, which was the first punk venue in London. And at the time, it was so early that there weren't many punk records out. So I used to play the music that I liked, which was reggae. After a while, a Bond began to form between myself and the punks. We began to kind of be open to each other's cultures. They were into reggae music, and through that interest, they became aware of herb. And it was quite interesting because the punks couldn't make their own spliffs. So the barman at the time, who was a friend of mine, who was another Rasta, used to make spliffs for the punks. In fact, there was a time when a guy came up to the bar and said, you know, give me 2 beers and a spliff. And he thought about it for a second and said, no, make that 2 spliffs and 1 beer. So there was definitely some effect going on there through each other's cultures. At the same time I was DJing at the Roxy in late '77, Bob Marley was obviously on the rise, and he was also very instrumental in making people more aware of herb. And that interest continued right the way through up until now. In fact, it's still very prevalent in kind of the hip-hop movement and things like that. But basically, it sort of went from, I don't know, the punk thing through to the two-tone, into the dance scene, and as I said, right through up into the current hip-hop. For want of a better description, herb is the sacrament of the Rastafari Church. And basically, through studying the Bible, we understand that it's there for the healing of the nation. In other words, it can nourish the mind just as food nourishes the body. It's like a key that can open certain aspects of your mind. And the brain needs feeding just as, you know, the rest of your body does. But for me personally, it seems to tune you into a certain wavelength that you can't reach without it. Although I do understand that through certain meditations one can achieve these heights without smoking herb or taking any other drugs. But in the 20th century, I personally don't have the time, so it's like a shortcut to get to this place to help you be creative. And another thing I find really interesting about weed is how through the smoking of it or the trying to acquire it, it brings together people of different classes, backgrounds, cultures. And in bringing those people together, there's an exchange of ideas, and through that exchange, other things happen. It seems that the clientele for weed has grown from strength to strength, and I think that's because people have gone through alcohol, they've gone through the speeds, you know, the acids, the ecstasies, and at the end of the day, a large consumption of any of those things will leave you a casualty. The same can't be said for herb. It's functional, it's practical. You can use it on a day-to-day basis. It's not addictive. You won't run over kids stoned out of your mind in a car. It just seems to be a more realistic proposition as opposed to the other harder things that are out there.
We feel we've been conned by various people in authority around the world, why they've kept this brilliant plant from us that can do so much. And so that was my introduction to it. And from that, through our fan club, which has got approximately 50,000 people on it, we started introducing the book, The Emperor, to sell, to allow people to find out information much the same way we did, not preaching necessarily, but just to find out that there is alternative ideas around the world, and that just because it comes from a central source or a governing body doesn't necessarily.
All right, that's another excerpt from The Magic Weed, a great production from Great Britain. And, you know, I agree with a lot of what the Rastafarian guy was saying, that marijuana is a great alternative and definitely a lot safer than any of the alternatives we have out there. And not only is it safer, it's healthy and good for you.
Right,
so.
and, you know, hemp is great for the earth, and not only does it heal us, but it heals our planet. So I think we should really get more involved. If you're not involved out there, continue to watch us, and we'll let you know how to move forward.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, I'm Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi. Hi.
Welcome.
Well,
how are you tonight?
Anyway, I better not watch the show when I'm talking. But anyway, I was wondering if you could just speak to the condition of depression, getting a card if you have depression. The only thing I just heard was that it's legal you can do that in California, but
exactly. Right now, California is the only state that allows depression. Now, I personally know a lot of people who've used other medications for depression and who find medical marijuana works much better for them, and that the side effects of the pharmaceutical drugs that are available for depression are particularly unpleasant. And so Unfortunately, though, under the laws as they currently stand, it's going to take some more movement to get other states to include depression. New Mexico just added a non-physical ailment. They added post-traumatic stress syndrome, or PTSD, to the listed conditions. But I strongly believe depression should be on there.
Well, there's an effort in the state of Oregon to add depression to it.
Exactly.
Attorney Lee Berger, as well as
Ed Glick, the RN.
A former RN. He's working really hard on it, and what they're looking for are testimonials, like from someone like you.
In Oregon, you said?
Yeah, we're trying. We've got an effort underway to try to get anxiety and depression on the list.
And you know, most other states that have medical marijuana have a mechanism by which to add conditions. And it's very rare to get other conditions added, but it can be done in each and every state that has medical marijuana currently in their state law.
If you'd like to contact us at our
How can I find out more about that?
Are you in Oregon?
This,
Do you live in
yes.
the state of Oregon?
Yes.
Well, you can contact our Oregon Normal. Contact us at Oregon Normal, ORNORML.org, or give us a call and leave a message, and we'll get back to you and direct you to send your own testimony in to help us with this campaign to add this condition.
In other states, there are other mechanisms, but primarily it helps if you have a doctor. In this case, Ed Glick, being a former RN, has some medical knowledge, and Lee Berger's an attorney who are trying to get additional conditions added in the Oregon legislature.
So you can call us at 503-239-6110, and we'll get back to you with more information on it if you'd like to send your testimony.
Okay, 239 what now?
239-6110.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, you're very welcome. Thanks for your call.
You know, just this past couple weeks, as our long-term viewers know, we have a museum that we've been putting together with archive things, and a recent addition is this 2-volume, very hefty set of books called Mills Pause, Medicinal Plants, Volume 1 and 2, with hand-colored plates. And so one of the things in the Mills Pause books is they have hand-colored plates. This is published in 1892 and is a compendium of medicinal plants in North America as of 1892. And they have these nifty, it's very rare to find one of these books that still has the cannabis insert in it. A lot of these are cut out and framed individually, but this is a rare copy that includes the whole frame of hand-colored cannabis pictures inside. So I thought we'd bring this and have it on our show and tell, or our sharing for tonight. You can see they have pictures of seeds and seed pods there at the very bottom, and you get the male and the female plant, and there's a pretty lengthy explanation of its cultivation and medicinal uses as told circa 1892 when this came out. So these are hand-colored, actually, so it took a lot of work to put these kind of things together way back when. So anyway, just thought we'd share that with you tonight. Mills Pause, Medicinal Plants from 1892, 2-volume set. Another piece of evidence that marijuana is good for you.
Yes. And part of America's history, isn't it?
That's true. That's true.
They can't take it away no matter how hard they try.
That's right. You know, and I know there's the belief out there talked about by the Rastafarian fellow, and I know Steve Cubby put it out there that in a book called Politics of Consciousness, that marijuana is a plant that's reaching out to us saying you got to open your mind to the healing of the nation, so to speak, the medicinal benefits, the health benefits, and the ecological benefits in terms of using hemp biofuels and hemp fiber, and that's what we're trying to...
Yeah, and as I've often said, America's history was founded on hemp.
Yeah.
Hemp was part of our economic,
It was required by all colonists that they had to grow at least 10 acres of hemp and give that to the British Crown so that the British Navy could sail and they could put hemp caulk between their shipboards so the things wouldn't leak out there as they crossed the ocean back and forth.
And I think we just have to return to those, to America's roots.
Yeah.
Which are hemp. And let's go forward, folks. Get involved.
If you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. If you or a loved one have one of the conditions that you think might qualify for medical cannabis, then we have doctors who can help you all over the United States. You can call us at 503-235-4606. That's one of the numbers. Or you can call toll-free at our hotline at 1-800-723-0188. That number that's there on your screen right now. We have doctors throughout the U.S. who can help you, at least in those 13 states where medical marijuana is allowed. We're not in all 13 of them yet, but we can direct you to doctors who are.
But you're coming, huh?
We're trying anyway. I don't think I'm going to go up to Alaska. It's too small, too far out of the way. And marijuana's been legal there since with the Raven versus State decision. You know, it was re-implemented about 5 years ago, where technically anybody can grow 4 plants and have a couple ounces in their home.
Yeah, sounds like they're doing okay in Alaska.
That's right. That's right. It's not too bad. We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hey, what's up, Paul? Just want to say, my name's Othello, first of all, becoming hip-hop artist. First of all, I want to tell you...
I saw your play.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Othello, the Shakespearean.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
I must admit, I was more theatric back then.
Okay. All right.
I want to have you on the front cover of High Times with me as one of my first covers. Instead of being on one of the rap magazines, I want to be on the front cover of High Times.
Well, if High Times is up for it, I'll be happy to accompany you.
That's like having the Cannabis Cup right next to me, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
First of all, I wanted to tell you that. And secondly, what you do is great.
Thanks.
Your information's great. You're about a lot of good things, and I think you should keep at it forever. And I appreciate you.
Wild horses can't drag me away, and a few of them have tried.
And if you ever...
Some of them still try.
Yeah, and if you like that song by Ice Cube, Today Was a Good Day, it's really true.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day.
All right.
And you too.
Thank you. That's a good one. You know,
great, isn't
I
it?
just, that is. That's it. I mean, I don't know about me being the Cannabis Cup or anything, but, you know, I like to help out as much as I can.
Great.
Anyway, I was real happy. Got to go to Montana this last week.
Nice.
We had a record number of patients come up. We saw patients on Monday in Missoula, Tuesday in Helena, the state capital, and Wednesday in Billings, and saw well over 100 patients altogether, which is a record number for us for the state of Montana. And I took my family along, and then on Thursday we went to Yellowstone. And so yesterday we saw Old Faithful erupt a couple of times, saw baby buffalo. They could just barely walk, nursing their mama buffaloes, and baby goats. We saw mountain sheep, bighorn sheep, with their babies right down on the roadside.
Oh,
there
the kids must have really enjoyed that.
Oh, it was great.
Huh?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, you know, that psychs me out. I saw big elk, and I saw a whole herd of about 20 deer running through a stream with the water spraying up everywhere. It was
just enjoying
sacred
nature,
place.
huh?
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Beautiful.
Huh?
No bear?
No bears. I always want to see a bear, but I didn't get to see a bear this time.
I got to see one when I was at Sequoia National Park. But I wanted to mention, Paul, tomorrow, Saturday, the 27th, is the Oregon Normal Cardholders Meeting at 700 Northeast Deacom, and the doors open at 11 a.m. You need to have your IDs and your OMMP card to get in, and you can join at the door. You got to be a member of Oregon Normal. So we're excited. We could use clean cuttings and any excess medicine you'd like to bring. So there
that's
it
at
is.
700 Northeast Deacom at the Village Ballroom.
Correct.
And it's open to Oregon medical marijuana card holders. You have to join Oregon Normal, but you have these meetings twice a month.
Twice a month.
So patients can come down up to 24 times over a year period to get the cuttings or medicine, or just have a good community experience. It is pretty empowering to be in a room full of folks, like-minded folks. And,
right.
Well,
we are a self-sustaining community. That said, you know, it's illegal to buy or sell, so we give it away. So come on down and participate in it if you're
It's
able.
a whole new paradigm. That's what I told CNN that. They didn't run that part,
Yeah,
of course. But
they forgot.
It's a whole new paradigm to give it away. It's a lot of fun, too.
It is.
You know, it's very spiritually rewarding.
It is, and you know, I got a call from CNN. As a matter of fact, you know, I told you I gave them a call. I wasn't too pleased with their coverage, And I thought
So the producer called you.
She did call me back. She was a really nice lady, Justine.
What'd
We
she
met her.
say? Yeah, I remember
Well,
her.
she
She-
said that she was sorry that I felt that way. I said I thought you did a bit of a hit piece on my friend, and I didn't appreciate it. And plus,
Well,
you
the whole
didn't-
thing about legal pot pusher that
That's
they
the part that
titled
offended
me
me.
on.
Yeah.
You know, and if, I am pushing for legal pot. That's what I'm pushing
Well, yeah.
for. I'm pushing for legal pot, but they showed, you know, the marijuana plants in our garden, and they showed $3 million a year, and then it said legal pot pusher. It gave the impression that I was out there selling $3 million worth of herb a year, and it was all public and legal.
And that's what
not
I mentioned.
the case.
That's exactly what I
You know,
mentioned.
what we actually do is we have doctors who help patients, and so doctors get paid pretty well, and so we pay not only the doctors and the nurses, but also a pretty large staff. You know, just since the first of the year, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation on January 1st had 46 employees, and as of now, less than 6 months later, we have 80 employees. We've added more than 80% growth in terms of the payroll and all of that just since the first of the year. And
well,
that's
you're helping our state's economy.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you
That's
so very much.
You're welcome. We're pumping about $40,000 to $50,000 a year into federal and state taxes across the board, and multiple of that into our employees' pockets. And they are here to help patients and help others to try to end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and help medical marijuana patients too.
Yeah, you do.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
Very well. A little tired,
Good.
but okay.
Get used to the little time thing. I've got to stop watching the TV because the delay is too much.
Yeah, it's different. You can't watch the TV and do it at the same time. It's disconcerting.
I was just actually sitting here getting ready to go out tonight. I'm a musician, but I also happen to be a nurse. And I picked up the phone to call, and it actually rang in the first ring, which is very unusual.
Hey, you were blessed.
Well, and I don't know if maybe what I have to say is important or not, but I'll let you guys decide this. I was prompted by the caller that was suffering from depression or wanted to know about depression as a diagnosis for being able to get medical marijuana. And as an RN, I know that in my experience, you'd recognize me if you saw me. My name's Don, and the front of High Times is easy.
Yeah.
So as a nurse, I know that one of the symptoms that many people with chronic depression, and depression as being diagnosed as something that lasts 6 months or longer and being in chronic in a state, complain of chronic pain. And I know in Oregon, under the Patient Bill of Rights, a patient is in pain when they say they are.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to fly. You guys are the experts on this, but I just had an idea, and that's why I was prompted to call, that if certainly in these patients' charts with their doctors and the nurses' notes, you have to look at the nurses' notes as well.
Yeah.
Because many times the doctor's notes might not get things in that a nurse's notes might be including because they're looking at the patient in a more holistic manner. If those complaints of the chronic pain are stated in the chart,
then that is something for which a doctor can definitely recommend medical marijuana. And I'm glad you brought that up. Sorry I missed that point. That is something that I think maybe half or more of the patients out there with chronic depression. Of course, if you're in constant pain, you've got a good reason to be depressed.
Well, but depression is painful. I mean, it hurts everybody.
Very painful. Absolutely correct.
In all parts of your life are affected
so maybe
by
you can
depression.
investigate the possible legality of that and seeing if that diagnosis would hold up as being in the chart as chronic pain. Chronic pain is chronic pain, whether it's a secondary diagnosis from something that's not accepted or not.
Yeah.
If you can find that and broadcast that, we might have some hope for people that are shut out.
Another thing is if they're on a medicinal regimen for their depression that causes nausea or spasms or pain or something, then that can qualify a patient that has depression for medical marijuana. And what we find is most patients who qualify for medical marijuana have multiple conditions anyway. It's not just chronic pain or just depression, but there's some other issues going on as well.
I rarely see patients as a nurse that just have one diagnosis. So.
That's a great point. Thanks for your call.
Well, I'm off for the evening, going to play tonight, and I just wanted to call in, and I guess I was meant to get through. So God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Break a leg,
Bless you
man.
too, and I hope you have a good jam session out there. It's a good night for it.
That is a really good point. You know, I've often said that if you don't qualify because of your condition, the side effects from your pharmaceuticals may qualify you.
Exactly.
And it seems to be true for many people. And as a person who actually deals with depression, you know, as I don't anymore because of marijuana.
Yeah.
So that's always great. But I remember as a child being really afraid and anxious, and so yeah.
You know, as a kid, I had ulcers, and they were very painful. But when I started smoking marijuana, the ulcers went away.
Yes.
I haven't had ulcers since then. And I've gone pretty long periods, 6 months a year without using marijuana since then. But I haven't had a recurrence of the ulcers anyway.
Well, that's
and
good.
Cannabis definitely modulates the whole gastrointestinal system and can restore homeostasis or balance in the system. And that's one of the advantages of cannabinoids and the whole cannabinoid receptor system is that it basically establishes a homeostasis or a good, healthy position for not just your gastrointestinal system, but your whole endocrine system, and that can have a big effect on depression as well.
Stunned at how marijuana affects people, even though we've been doing this for so many years. I have yet to accept it all. It's so fascinating to see a patient. My mom, for example, has been using it, and she's just blown away by the effects of it and how it's just improved her whole being, just every part of her. Hi, Mom. I know she's out there watching us.
Hey, we have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Oh, no more caller.
No caller.
That happens sometimes.
It does. It does. It takes time. Everything's happening right on schedule here tonight, isn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. We got to mention that we will not have a live show next week. Our studio's closed down for Independence Day, the 4th of July. So go out there and enjoy family, friends, and fireworks, maybe, explosives, whatever it is.
Be careful.
Yeah. Don't injure yourself, for sure.
Please.
But we won't have a live show next week, but tune in the following week, which is, I think, the 10th, that we have our next live show. And then we'll be here every single week through the rest of the summer.
Great.
So stay tuned for that. Yeah, and we have coming up on September 12th and 13th our Hempstock Festival. And so if you want to get involved with that, we need volunteers to help us with all aspects of the organization, from parking to vendors to volunteers to patrolling the area to stage crew to everything you can think of with a big event. So if you're interested in volunteering, you can come down to our office at 105 Southeast 18th Avenue. Ask for Sylvia. She'll be happy to help you. That's 105 Southeast 18th Avenue. And you can volunteer or give us a call at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Right now we have Native American artist John Trudell lined up. We have Human and the Human Revolution, one of our favorite bands out there. We have the Daughters of Willie Nelson and Arlo Guthrie, a band called Folk Uke. That's Kathy Nelson and Amy Nelson and Kathy Guthrie. I better not get that one wrong again. No. But Folk Uke. And so we have an exciting lineup, and we're working on additional artists. So stay tuned and come down to the Hempstock Festival on September 12th and the 13th. Normal's going to have some kind of a legal thing here at that same time. Isn't that right?
We are. We're going to have a legal a conference right here in Portland.
Right.
And we're going to have it with the Oregon Criminal Defense Lawyers Association.
Great.
So it's going to be very exciting. We're going to have an event at Rumpsbankers, again, Village Ballroom.
All right.
We'll be there partying that night.
I got to interrupt you, folks. Everybody who was in the audience has seen something coming up, and we're just going to say this right up front.
And I'm kind of embarrassed.
Today is Paul's birthday, and so I want everybody please join with me and sing happy birthday to Paul Stanford. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Paul. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Tonight's the actual day, so I guess you can get away with it. But I'm glad this doesn't happen every year, you know? What can I say? It doesn't fall. Boy, that is a big card.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be able to do it. Is this one of those you open it up and it sings a song or something? Oh, my gosh.
It's just got millions of signatures.
It's nifty. It has leaves inside.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, I wish you guys could enjoy the birthday cake.
I will.
But Somebody will around here.
Another reason for smell-o-vision.
Yes.
Yep, exactly. So in closing, I just want to remind you folks out there that if you or a loved one need help finding a doctor who can help you with medical marijuana, give us a call at our toll-free number. That's 1-800-723-0188. Again, 1-800-723-0188. And the Oregon Normal meetings tomorrow and twice a month. It's the second and fourth Saturday of each month.
Every month.
So if you're a medical
Except
marijuana
when we're at
patient,
Hempstock.
and I know they are. There are other states that are emulating what's going on. Rhode Island's doing it currently, and they've been implementing some of the same strategies.
It's actually gone as far as Israel.
Yeah.
They contacted us from Israel to find out how we did our cardholder meeting because there is no exchange for consideration. They used our template. So it's really exciting to see it really taking a hold all over, internationally now. It's pretty dang exciting.
Okay, well, I'm going to have some fun here. You guys tune in next week. We're going to go out on the great tunes of Mr. Tim Pate and Mr. John Cornett. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.
Somewhere in Black Mountain Hills out in Dakota, there lived a young boy and a rocky raccoon. Now, one day his woman ran off with another guy. Hit young Rocky in the eye. Rocky didn't like that. He said, I'm gonna get that boy. So one day he walked into town to book himself a room in the local saloon. Rocky Raccoon checked into his room, only to find Gideon's Bible. Rocky had come equipped with a gun to shoot off the legs of his rival. Well, his rival, it seems, had broken his dreams by stealing the girl of his fancy. Well, her name was McGill, but she called herself Lil, and everyone knew her as Nancy. Now she and her man, who called himself Dan, were in the next room at the hold down. Rocky burst in